How do you animate things in Rhino Grasshopper? In this little video, I will show you how you can manage an animation and how you can export it into a movie making software as single images, as well as how you can animate an object with different values that you want to change, as you can see in this example. So let's start with a new file. So first thing, we want to keep it simple. So we just want to change a simple center box, let's say. So you see here, we get our box. And now usually we would like to change it with a value. Let's say we get in a number slider with a value of 5. And let's say you want to change all of them with the same value. So from 0, so no box, to 5. That would be a very simple animation. Yeah, very, very simple. At this moment, I'm not very happy with the look of it. So we have to address a few things. So with that software in mind, we can usually change the look of it here in Rhino directly. I usually like the monochrome view, which it doesn't change a lot now, as we have to change the preview here in Grasshopper. So what you need to do is you need to create a custom preview component. So I just double click on the canvas and I create a custom preview that you can also find here under display, preview, and then custom preview. I log in my geometry and I want to change the color, which I again double click on the canvas and I get in a color swatch that you find also here under parameters and input color swatch. Plug it in here and we see this gets now white. We still see a little bit of red underneath, so we have to turn off the preview of this. Click on it, right click on the canvas, turn the preview off. So now we have a nice little grayish thing. Maybe you want to change the color a little bit. You can do all of that here in the color switch. Let's go for a nice pink. And now we have our first little object that we can animate. Now you say, okay, I don't want to let it go from 0 to 10. Maybe that's too big. I double click on the slider, set the lowest value to 2 and the highest, let's say, to 8. In both cases I enter. You could also change it from normal numbers to add some rounding, so it's a smoother animation, as you will see now. As you can see now it's way smoother. And now to get this thing out of Rhino into any movie making or movie making software. You can do animations or you can create movie files with Photoshop. I will show you a very simple way that doesn't require any extra software here on a Mac, which is QuickTime. You have to keep in mind that the animation will be the one that you see here in the viewport. So I would suggest go to the maximum, zoom out so you see your whole block, choose a nice perspective that you like, double check the smallest, and this will be your animation now. Now to animate it and to get that out, you have to right click on this thing and you see here animate. We click on animate, this little window opens. Usually you see here BMP, which creates sometimes problems. You can just change that to JPEG, which is a more common format for images to create animations from it. Then you can choose your viewport. We stay in the perspective, and then you want to either you want to change that to a very common format like HD, which would be something like that. You have to double check again that everything is in your, that it's centered. And you have to define, you can also use the viewport format. But I would say let's go for the HD format now, which is very common on YouTube. And you can change the frame count. You have to keep in mind that if you want to have a really smooth transition between the images, usually a video or animation comes with 25 images per second. So if we keep that with just 150, this will be just 2 seconds. Let's say we want to create 4 seconds. We have to keep in mind 4 multiplied by 25 is 100. So let's log that in. Oh, we have to define a folder first. I create a new folder in here. Animation, let's call it. Animation 2. And enter. So we have a clean folder. And then I click on open this folder. And then I press OK. And you will see immediately how the animation starts. That's it. This finished our first animation. Now we have our single images in our folder that I just created. So keep in mind you have to find that folder. And as you can see, we can basically just scroll down and we have our animation. Only problem now is these are single images. So if you want to create a movie from that, you just look for on Mac, very simple. You open the QuickTime Player. And on the QuickTime Player, there's something called, which you can't see now, which is called Open Image Sequence. This asks you to select all the images, choose the images. It will ask you for the resolution, which you can, in our case, can keep original size, or you directly go for HD. How many frames per second I'm on a German laptop, so Bilder pro Sekunde, which is frames per second, and then open it. You see it takes a few seconds, and there we have our first small animation. Really smooth. Just save it, sichern, save, and you see you can save it as a MOV file now, animation. That's it. Now, maybe you don't want to animate something that just has this one slider for all values. Yeah. So you could say, maybe I don't want to the Z direction. I don't want to change it. So you just bring in this and you see now I just animate the other two things. But let's say I want to animate the box with different values. So the X coordinate shall change with other values. So here I have to create a little trick. So in this case, you want to remap numbers, and you can use that for any kind of objects that you want to animate, because you can, in Grasshopper, you can only animate one slider at a time. So we need to remap a slider to meet different values. So in our case, I would say we need this remap numbers, which you can just again click on the slide on the canvas and type remap numbers, or you can go here and under math domain find remap numbers. This asks you for a value, a source domain, which is basically the starting and end point of our slider, and the target domain where we want to remap our number to. For simplicity, I would say let's go for a slider from 0 to 1. Yeah, just very simple. Maybe make it a little bit smoother by adding some digits. Here, double click on the slider and make sure you have 3. So you have a really smooth thing. Now we don't need to change the source domain. So the source domain is this one here from 0 to 1. If you hover over this, you will see it's from 0 to 1, but we want to change the target domain. So now we need to construct a domain, which we find here, construct domain. and it asks us for values. At the moment it's from 0 to 1, and I would say we can just use these two sliders here. So we have a start and an end, and maybe you want to say I start here and I want to end at a value like this. We bring that in here, and now we have a map value. That is, if we have our slider on 1, it's this value, which we can bring in here, and you see now we animate this with this slider. Now, if we want to change the other values to other domains, we can basically just, maybe let me first group this. So this is our remapping group, and with Control C, Control V, we can Command C, Command V, we can copy this and bring it in here as well as here. And now we can change those remapping domains where we want to map to. So let's say the other slider, we want to create smaller numbers, and you see they're already changing here depending on what we put in here. And now I can remap the numbers accordingly. Maybe I want to change this here to a really high number, let's say 20. Bam, a little bit long maybe. But you can see now all of the values based on these values are still changed by this one slider. So if I right click now on this one, I can again go and animate. Maybe we give it a little A in front of it. And now we will see that this slider now animates the value based on this different value, based on these domains. And again, we can go to QuickTime, our QuickTime Player, animation. Oh, sorry. We can go to Open Image Sequence. Now I have an A in front of it. And do the same thing. Again, it asks us for the imaging sequence. Open it. And here we have this animation with different values for different things. I don't need to save this. So similarly, you can use these also for other type of geometries. So if we go to surface and you want to bring in a cylinder, let's say, at the maybe with a different color. So you keep this slider, but you copy this and you want to change maybe the radius. You see this one over here. Let me turn this one off. Now we change the radius of this. Let me put this in here and put this in here. Now you see, I mean, they are changing with the same kind of, or you can also reverse certain things. You see, so now it's getting wider. Yeah, you see, I reversed it here, so it's getting smaller as it's getting wide. It's getting the length is going down while the width or the radius is going up, just with one slider. So that's it. That's how you animate objects with different values in Rhino Grasshopper. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, leave me any comments if you have questions or if I need to clarify anything. Thank you for listening.